endless laning phases. Can Kazakhstan stand up to that will be their first challenge.
And that's actually a great champion that has been essentially permanently banned from Red side for the past few months, it seems, since his rework at Rift.
Could go into multiple lanes, and we refer to these picks as flex picks. Now, from what the research I've done, Bulla XOXO is most likely going to pick up the Aatrox, but there still could be surprises. We don't know until they finally do lock in all of their positions. On the Chinese squad, we do see MLXG going for Camille. He is known for his early aggression, and they've set up the strongest mid lane kill combo so far. The level 2 CC chain between Rune Prison and the hookshot is absolutely deadly. So Kazakhstan's going to have to think very carefully about what they take into the mid lane.
I mean, really, it looks like China has come up with a rather intelligent strategy in both the mid and bottom lane, because suddenly you pair that with the Alistar down bottom for Mako as well. There are plenty of opportunities for MLXG to gank, and of course, there are a bunch of CC top laners that Letme could try to take as well. And if we're looking at that jungle versus jungle matchup of MLXG versus Sins, that could be something that we have to keep our eyes on, as Braum is the final pickup for Milky.
Yep, and we do see Kazakhstan now going with their second phase bans, taking out Ashe, another champion that Uzi has been quite renowned for. So what the game is setting up to be like is China is going to look to put their pressure into the mid lane. They have the great CC combination, while on the bottom side, it does look like they might be playing it a little bit safer. Kazakhstan, once again, going with the same logic with the Ezreal and Tahm Kench bans, trying to force Uzi into a hard position, which is a very interesting strategy because he is probably the best mechanical player at this tournament.
Certain unkillable demon kings in the world of League of Legends might want to challenge that throne, though we'll get to see those matchups happen later on in the tournament. Aurelia will also be banned away from Team China. Again, that Ryze can be flexed to the top lane, so still we're seeing Kazakhstan with that Respect ban away, the Trundle banned away from Sins. So we'll see whether or not Uzi can take something safe, as we'll still get a chance to see what Fake Lover gets to take in this bottom lane. If it is going to be the Ahri Marksman, which we have seen out of the LPL, the Chinese region of Professional League, or if he'll go for something a bit more conventional with a standard marksman.
Yeah, definitely the Olaf ban shows a lot of respect from the Chinese side as well. It is a flex pick for Kazakhstan. It can go into their jungle and into the top lane. We remember that Bulla XOXO performance where he was going with the Triforce and the Ravenous Hydra on Olaf, an absolute monster in the split pushing lane. So they're just taking that away for safe measure. However, on the Kazakhstan side, we have a very interesting situation where it does look like there will not be a traditional marksman pick for them. Echo is typically not played into the bot lane, it's more known as a mid laner pick, so we will most likely be seeing the Ahri into the bot lane, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, and it is looking to be a very interesting matchup. We'll see how that ends up shaking out, as Kai'Sa is the champion of choice for Uzi, his new superpower character, as he has been taking that champion to MSI, to Rift Rivals, and even in the LPL, just taking names all across the map. And then we've also got Letme on the carry Jace in the top lane. So Team China coming out swinging with their champion picks, and Kazakhstan, with the final win lock-in, set themselves up with a triple assassin composition.
Oh boy, this is such a fun composition coming out from Kazakhstan. It's not the best composition in terms of the 5v5, but if you look at their members, they're so strong across the board in terms of the skirmishing potential. And the Quinn pick is really interesting because we have seen it picked into the Jace. When you get the blind down onto the Jace, it's very hard for him to trade back onto you, and you can get that poke damage in. So Kazakhstan going for strong lanes, strong skirmishing, while on the Chinese squad, we do see more of the scaling potential coming out from the Kai'Sa and the Ryze.
Playing a little bit more standard towards those team fights, whereas of course Kazakhstan throughout their qualifier stages, they played through strong laning phases, trying to focus on that early game, trying to focus on their individual matchups, instead of looking towards the more holistic team picture. It must be mentioned, of course, that some of their team fights did get a little bit sloppy and chaotic throughout the course of their qualifier games over the duration of playing those three matches. Of course, it can be very exhausting. But this is Kazakhstan making a statement. Hey, we don't want to try to beat you in a large 5 versus 5 grouped up team fight. We want to pull you apart into smaller battles and take victories that way.
And this basically goes back to our laning phase answer for Kazakhstan. We're talking about China coming in with the much more renowned mechanical players on their roster. So the way Kazakhstan is going to get through the early game is by picking the stronger matchups across the board, the matchups that do have the kill potential in themselves. So I'm going to be expecting a lot of 3v3s happening for their team, and Sins is going to have to play a massive part with Echo. He's going to have to land those stuns.
Absolutely. We saw an excellent performance from him in the qualifiers, invading over and over as the Olaf. Of course, his opponent this time is MLXG, a jungler who will not shy away from the battle. But all of that being said, we've loaded onto the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Jakarta Esports demonstration event has now begun, with Team China taking on Kazakhstan.
And we're just about to go into game. We're already hearing the game pings come out. And Kazakhstan so far, they have an incredibly powerful level 1. So if they decide to, they could try to layer their CC and force Vision into China's jungle.
We'll see if they decide to stack up in that way, or if they instead just play it, again, safe and focus on the laning phase. And I think that's the biggest focus that we have to look at for Team Kazakhstan. Do they play it safe? They have a team composition that sets them up to invade, to infight, to skirmish, to separate the pieces of China and try to find kills that way. Because if they do fall back, if they do play it safe, it's very easy for Team China to group up and look for those team fights themselves.
Yeah, for Kazakhstan, they do want to finish the game quite early. A 25-minute victory would be what they were looking for. On Chinese squad, however, they are looking for more of that late game potential. Kai'Sa is that champion that you do expect to be pushed in a little bit in lane, and you can see MLXG is going there to remedy the situation straight off the bat, putting the pressure onto Kazakhstan already.
He's actually invading into the jungle of Kazakhstan, sees that the blue buff hasn't been started by Sins, as it was a red start, and is now taking away the scuttle. Now that ward will spot him out, so that gives some very early vision. And look at that, Uzi and Mako already stepping up to take control of this lane. Despite the push pressure of an Ahri, Uzi's Kai'Sa is still something that looks to be winning the matchup.
Yeah, that really shouldn't happen in this matchup, to be honest, but Uzi is one of those...
Uh-oh, they're diving under the turret already! Team China's not happy with the laning phase. They find the kills, and they immediately set themselves up for success, though a bit of an overextension sends MLXG to an early grave. Already Team China they're showing us, hey, we know Uzi's the best mechanical player, we're just going to focus on him.
Yeah, we don't want him to fall too far behind in what is supposedly a harder matchup for him, but it doesn't even seem like the case under the mechanical hands of Uzi. He's been playing this lane incredibly well, getting the early push on as well. I would say the only bad thing about that trade coming in from China was that MLXG will fall pretty far behind. He is going to lose out on experience gain, while on the other hand, Sins was able to pick up a little bit of experience from the incoming wave.
Yeah, there's absolutely an opportunity for Sins to try and dictate the pace of the game now that MLXG is back in the base. Already, though, you can see good vision control from Team China has spotted Sins out in advance. They know where he's going, and MLXG is immediately heading to the opposite side of the map to make sure he doesn't find himself in an unwarranted skirmish. Elsewhere, Xie seems to be holding down the fort against Crayon, forcing an early recall in that mid lane, and no teleport from Crayon. Means that this large wave is about to crash in. Sins is trying to hold it so that Crayon can try to get some of the experience.
Pretty interesting. We saw Crayon actually switch back to Ignite at the last second. He was contemplating taking the cleanse earlier on once he saw the CC combination, but still went with the aggressive option. And this basically means that if he wants this to really work out for him, he has to look for those early kills. He has to play very aggressive and upfront.
And we see Sin setting up a gank up top. The flash engage out of Bula. He's turned upon by Letme, who still gets a kill. Meanwhile, Uzi in the bottom lane finds a kill against Fake Lover. MLXG will chase onto Sin just to scare him away and help push this wave back. But already, Team China, they are coming out swinging.
And that's what we're talking about, China having the more renowned players. Those two plays that just happened were mechanical outplays. It was a straight 2v2 in the bot lane and a 1v2 in the top lane against Letme. Really definitely handled, and he did force out the summoners from Bula XOXO as well.
MLXG is thinking about running towards the mid lane, but Crayon is already hugging his turret. You can see he's down 11 CS as this next wave crashes in, and MLXG is still invading away on Sim's Raptor camp. So still, it looks like Team China are trying to expand this advantage. We thought they were going to take it slow and play for the team fight, but they're just happy to use their raw mechanical advantages, that raw mechanical skill ceiling, to simply outmaneuver Kazakhstan this early on, though there is still plenty of opportunity for Kazakhstan to try to open this game back up.
Yeah, and the person they're going to be looking for to do that for them will be Sins coming in from the jungle. You can see the a bit of the problems with Echo so far, but the top lane trade, I really want to see the finish of it.
Oh, wow, another kill for Letme, a solo kill at that, keeping track of the flash. And now in the bottom lane, Fake Lover forced to finally use his flash away despite the earlier 2 kills. He did not use it as Uzi and Mako are non-stop aggressing in this bottom lane, and now the wave is pushing into them.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult situation for Kazakhstan's bot lane. They're going
right back in. Even MLXG is there. Milky has no flash either. They're even passing over another kill. 2-0-1. 6 minutes in, and Team China have got 6 kills.
Yeah, this is an absolute disaster for Kazakhstan. Like we were saying, that they wanted to pick for a more early skirmish-oriented team composition, but if you're not able to get out of your lanes on even footing at the very least, it's very hard to execute on that strategy. So,
oh, and even in the mid lane, a snare onto Crayon. He had the flash, but didn't get the reaction to jump away from MLXG. This is just non-stop aggression from Team China.
Yeah, and it's happening in all 3 lanes as well, so it's making Kazakhstan, they're having a very difficult time trying to plot out where are they going to actually throw their investments into the lane. All 3 lanes are severely in the negative at this point.
And that's the question, as you said, for Sins. Typically in League of Legends, whenever a lane loses, you try to ignore it and focus on one lane that's winning to try to offset that balance instead of equalize it. Well, currently, Sins, he's the only one who's winning right now, excluding Milky, the support, who can't really put on a carry performance. Does he just focus on his own carry instead and try to go for the full assassin AP Echo from the jungle, or does he instead look towards one of these lanes that has CC and try to reset the matchup?
I really like you mentioned the fact that he is in fact going for the Runic Echoes, going for the more heavy carry build instead of the tank build that we usually see Echo jungles go for.
Again, Mako finds the engage and lands a stun onto Fake Lover, but just constantly reminding them of the pressure that Uzi and Mako can put out this Team China bottom lane. But to get back to Sins, he's hovering around the mid lane right now. He is level 6 and might try to find something as Xie forced to flash over the wall. That's the Infernal Chains. Realm Warp, he steps back in and gets away. Red buff ticking down. And Xie might just survive here. MLXG and Letme looking to go 2v3. They're still getting good damage, but a quick ascension from Crayon gets him back away, and Sins will get popped before he can even use his ultimate. The flash engage under the turret as Mako chases in. It's 3 kills to Team China. This is an absolute slaughter as they are chasing Team Kazakhstan under the mid-tier 1 turret.
And what an impressive cleanup coming in from the Chinese squad. All members flooding in to help Xie out into the mid lane. And that was a full 4-member rotation into the mid lane to swing what was started out as a 3v1 situation.
That's 11 kills to 2, and now the mid-tier 1 turret is being broken down. They're even denying some of these minions here to prevent Kazakhstan from picking up some of the experience as Xie gets solo gold. He might only have 2 assists right now, but he is very far ahead of Crayon in CS. Uzi is another 30 CS down in that bottom lane. Even in the top lane, Letme, after those kills, 4-1 and 2 right now, is 20 CS ahead of Bula. This is Team China aggressively snowballing the game.
Yeah, and that's also their coordination coming to the forefront as well. All of their members are able to come into the mid lane at a moment's notice.
Oh, but they are trying to chase Uzi as he's forced to flash away in the bottom lane. Sins is ready with the dive. He's still got the Chrono Break ultimate, but it turns out they're able to chase down Bula. That's Sins trying to look for Uzi, misses the Timekeeper, and will be forced to back out of this, right back into MLXG, who finds himself a triple kill. Every play that Kazakhstan has tried has been turned on its head.
That was a great diffusion. And the play backfires so horribly on them.
And it's 15 kills to 2. In the mid lane, Letme and Xie were able to find a kill onto Cryon. You can see Bula XOXO is trying to do the only thing available to him, push all the way up to the tier 1 turret and try to force this wave to be cleared out, but here comes Letme, not afraid of these minions at all and happy to step in as he's got Xie there with him to follow up with a snare and even more damage. Bula, he's trying to get something to happen, but he just cannot break apart this unsurmountable force that is Team China.
Yeah, and you can see the fearlessness out of Bula XOXO. He couldn't see the right rotation, but he was willing to step up to Letme despite the kill difference because he had the backing of the minions. He wanted to fight it out, and that's the spirit you need to have when you're going up against one of the top dogs in the tournament.
You have to be able to stand your ground. They've picked themselves into this composition, into this setting to try and challenge some of the best in the world. And now they find themselves struggling to answer back. They're learning why Team China has some of the best in the world in this matchup. But still, this wave is pushing in. The bottom tier 1 turret is still standing. But teleport is ready for both Xie and Letme. There's plenty of opportunity for Team China to expand this lead even further. And they are giving Team Kazakhstan no respite. There is no rest.
They're just going at it again and again, and you can see Letme is so far ahead into the top lane. That was another solo kill going down. Can Sins tries to reverse this 3v2 into the bot lane, but unfortunately isn't able to get any of the stuns so far this game.
Sets up the Chronosphere, but not able to find either Uzi or Mako. Neither of them have summoner spells, but they both play it safe regardless, take no chance that they can get caught. Even MLXG is hovering on this top side of the map. Bula's on his way to defend, but MLXG with the Rift Herald buff could look to break an early tier 2 turret.
And you can slowly see China inching across the midway point of the map.
Oh, the flash engage onto Bula the moment he shows himself, and the Rift Herald into vision under the turret. Team China are trying to accelerate this game as quickly as possible.
And League of Legends games usually do not go this fast. Typically a game is around 35 minutes, and we see about 20 kills maybe total in that 35 minutes, but we already are at the 20 kill mark here at just a third of the time.
In the mid lane, Sins is trying to go one-on-one against Xie. He lands the Chronosphere, but Xie with the delayed snare simply outplays him, sees the move 2 plays in advance, and is able to deny it.
China completely crushing on the map right now. There is no corner for Kazakhstan to hide in.
Now they're setting up a dive. Uzi and Mako looking for Fake Lover and Milky. They've got Bula there as well. This could be able to find a kill under the turret. They're able to drop down Mako. The Xie with massive damage